everybody. Welcome to Monday Morning Must Knows. My name is Merlin Rothfeld, and here are several things to pay attention to for the upcoming trading week. Now, of course, inflation was the talk du jour last week, but really most eyes, including mine, were focused on that earnings announcements that were coming out on Friday with a lot of the big banks. And we saw JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, BlackRock, all having Citibank, fantastic earnings. Now, is this a nice omen for the markets going forward? This good luck charm? Well, markets didn't perform so good on Friday. We broke to some key levels on the S&P and the NASDAQ and the Russell. So let's dive into our economic calendar for the upcoming trading week to see what happens. Now, of course, because earnings season is officially kicked off, I am going to start things off with the earnings calendar. I know, boo, hiss, get back to the boredom. Well, we'll have some fun ones this week for sure. There's some big names that you might recognize. Now, I'll start things off on Monday. There's 210 companies reporting overall this week. On Monday, you will see Goldman Sachs and Charles Schwab report earnings. So continuing on with that financial theme. Moving on to Tuesday, the heaviest day, you got UnitedHealth, Johnson & Johnson, Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, PNC Financial, JB Hunt, United Airlines, and there are several more, particularly in the finance arena. I just didn't have enough space on my screen to put them all on there, so make sure you check your earnings calendar. But wait, we're not done. On Wednesday, you have ASML, Abbott Labs, CSX, and US Bank Corp. Thursday brings even more excitement. The largest semiconductor company in the world, Taiwan Semiconductors, reporting aftermarket close. You also have Netflix, ISRG, or Intuitive Surgical, another AI play for a lot of people, Infosys, and DR Horton. But wait, there's more. Friday brings you Procter & Gamble. You have American Express, Schlumberger, and Huntington Bank shares. Now, of course, while last Friday's financials really kicked off things with very good earnings, the markets didn't rejoice. Will they be able to keep up that momentum with these companies reporting this week? The good news is it's a wide distribution of different markets, industries, and segments reporting earnings this week, which may give us a better idea as to how our economy is performing. We'll be focusing on that. Now, the other driver is going to be economic data. And of course, we have some of that as well. On Monday, early, start our trading week off, we have retail sales numbers coming out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time on Monday. As you can see, the hard red edge there, it was 0.6. That was the very nice reading, one of the highest we've seen since February of 2023, so over a year, and that was 0.6%. The expectations are, well, we might be slowing down a little bit. Expectations are 0.4 right now, which is that little red arrow I just flew in from the right-hand side of your screen. Again, this isn't one that's going to cause massive market reactions, but there may be some issue with your markets, either bullish or bearish, depending on a beat of 0.4 for your retail sales numbers on Monday. Now, let's dive into the big stuff. We don't have any real big central bank announcements. Of course, we had several of them last week, but they weren't the U.S. Ours will be coming in a few weeks. But we do have comments being made by Jerome Powell and other central bankers. Now, is this important? Well, of course, we saw that CPI number come in much hotter than expected last week, and then all of a sudden PPI came in lower than expected. So we're getting kind of conflicting signals about consumer price index versus producer price index. Who's going to win that battle? Well, the consumer price index is probably the most important one because that's what you and I are paying for these goods and services. And maybe the comments from Jerome Powell and others may stoke the fuel to stoke that fire with regards to rate cuts for the year. Remember, it was 8 rate cuts, then it was 6, now it's 3, and may we see no rate cuts at all? Can't tell you that. But what I can tell you is we are going to see Jerome Powell and another central banker speaking in Washington, D.C. Jerome Powell and the Bank of Canada Governor Tim Macklem will be speaking at the Wilson Center's Washington Forum. That's going to happen Tuesday at 1:15 p.m. Eastern Time, so kind of in the middle of the trading day. And again, any comment that says anything really about inflation is important to the United States, and of course Canada as well. But they will be having a sit-down discourse between the two of them, kind of a panel discussion, talking about the economic conditions in Canada versus the United States, and maybe that'll give us some little insights into what Jerome Powell is thinking, as well as our neighbors to the north up there in Canada. Either way, this could create significant volatility right around that time on Tuesday, so be particularly careful with that, not to mention with all the earnings calendars we have. That, my friends, is your Monday Morning Must-Knows. We'll see you next week.